how can you turn a trading loss into a win? And how can you deal with the ups and downs of what the market throws at you? No trade is going to work out every time. This is what you have to be able to deal with to become a consistently profitable trader. Let me walk you through a couple of trades I took today and to show you the reality of what it's like trading and how to deal with the ups and downs of it. Like every trade I take, I always start out with a larger time frame chart looking at where the key areas of support and resistance are. This right here is a 15-minute chart of the ES futures, and looking at where the swings in the market are, there was a pretty clear idea that there was a area of support down here and an area of resistance up here. And so I went into the market waiting for the market to come down to one of these levels, looking for a trade. And so the market kind of moved forwards a little bit, opened and moved down pretty quickly. And so I went into a 1-minute chart of the ES futures and I looked for a trade entry. And so I always go through my checklist of, okay, we're at a support zone and I want to see this downtrend start to slow. And so for me, what that looked like is, well, clearly the market's going down, 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 and it bottoms here, breaking this downtrend I had, and then moved higher. And so a lot of the time it's hard to wait and be patient and not jump in as it breaks this downtrend line, because sometimes the market can just shoot higher off of that and you miss out on the trade. But I've learned that that can be really greedy way of trading, and a lot of the time it will jump you into a trade when it's not confirmed that the downtrend is over. And so for me, I jumped in on this trade once I saw this double bottom happening, because looking at a bigger time frame chart, if the market does decide to bottom right here, you can see that there's a good amount of movement that it can go to the upside. And in terms of risk reward, well, if I'm risking a few $100s here and my potential reward is 3 or 4 times that risk, I don't have to be right very often for this to be a profitable setup to take consistently. And when it comes to trading, no trade is going to work out every time. Just because it fits your criteria and it looks really good. I jumped in, my last signal to jump in was once it made this double bottom, was this really bullish candlestick. I thought that was a really good signal that, okay, the market's made an attempt to keep going lower here, and now it's showing a lot of strength. And so I want to jump in based on that and assume that, okay, well, here's my risk. If the market goes against me and knocks me out, it's fixed. I will lose a fixed amount. But if the market starts to break higher here, there's no telling how much higher it could go, because I don't have a fixed profit target, and I go for about 3 or 4 times my risk. And so I'm able to capture a big move based on that. And so with this trade right here, well, sadly, the trend was really, really strong and it didn't work out. And it knocks me out here. And that's totally okay. No trade is gonna work every time. And my stop is in a great spot, because the idea is, okay, if it breaks here, I think it's gonna keep going lower, it's gonna make a new low, and I wanna just get out at that point, because you have to always understand that when your stop is hit, your idea is wrong and you just need to move on to the next trade. And it doesn't matter that it's frustrating that you lost money or that you were wrong. Remember that your goal is to consistently make money over the long term, and you have to reset and get ready for the next trade to happen. So at that exact same time, I'm also watching the NASDAQ futures, and you can see here, they had a really big sell-off too, but they had a really nice sell-off into a very, very large support level. And so my thinking is, well, we have a massive support level here that the market has been bouncing off very consistently. And we've done a quick breakout of that. You can see the market broke out of it right here. And so I'm looking at, okay, well, maybe it's going to reverse here. We've done, I like to look at a failed breakout. And so then going into a 1-minute chart, you can see that, well, the downtrend was even more clear here. And so it broke. You can see this is the bottom of that support level where it found some support and broke that trend. And so going through my checklist here is what I looked for was, that downtrend to be broken. And then it made another nice double bottom with a really strong bullish candlestick. And now this orange line here is for news. News happened right here. And so what happened there was news popped out and made this crazy candle, and I thought that it made a really nice double bottom. My signal showed up. I took the signal, jumped in, and the market decided to reverse really quickly. And maybe hindsight, trading basically as news came out might have not been a good idea, but I felt that there was a lot of reasons to potentially get in long. And of course that risk reward was there. And so I was wrong again. And so having 2 losses on the day can be really, really frustrating. And so generally I am done for the day after that. But I stuck around for one last trade because, maybe I was a little frustrated, but I did see one more opportunity in oil futures. And, no 2 trades are connected, but your emotions do connect your trades. I have 2 losses on me right now on this day. I'm getting frustrated. It's frustrating when the trade doesn't work out, and it's frustrating when reversals happen and your signal doesn't show up and you miss them. And so the key that I have always found is you have to try and focus on the process and the strategy of, my strategy has shown up. I'm going, doesn't matter what I feel right now, I'm going to jump into a trade and let things play out. And again, this did fit my checklist of it made multiple bounces at a support level. It came down to that support level and then made pretty much a double bottom here again with a nice rejection candlestick. And so at that point, I jumped in on the trade, and I actually jumped in half size on this trade. So I was risking, half my normal amount. Normally here I would trade 2 contracts, but I decided to trade 1 because I was aware that I was frustrated and that, maybe I'm revenge trading here. Sometimes it's hard to know in the moment. And so I traded half size because that is a really good way to deal with your emotions. And maybe when you're not 100% sure about a trade too, this is one thing I've been trying to practice and get better at, is knowing, okay, when should I half size and when should I full size? And generally the idea is if you're very in the zone and focused and really confident about the trade, go full size. And if you're, a little bit in that gray area, go half size. But definitely don't over trade because you think it's half size and it's not that big of a deal. That's definitely something I've realized a little bit going through this process, is that's something I started to do a little bit. And so that's where trading comes into play, as the end goal is you're always getting better and learning. You're gonna have ups and downs in your trading where things do good and things do bad, but the end goal is you're always getting better and better over time. And so this trade was actually on a 5-minute chart. This is a 5-minute chart of oil. So a bigger time frame is gonna play out slower. And so this trade actually is still going right now. To bring up my actual chart, here's my actual trade that it's still in. And so I entered in down here, with that double bottom. And so the market went all the way up here, came all the way back down, and it's kind of just sat here. And I even was looking at it on a 15-minute chart, kind of looking for this larger move to break higher. But the market, it's just really choppy. It's technically triple witching expiration today, and so that probably put a little bit of a halt in its tracks. And so it's actually 4 minutes until close right now. And so at this point, I'm just pretty much going to close this trade out just to show you a little bit more of my normal recording screen of what it looks like. I'm up $220. I think up here, if I bring out my risk reward tool, this is where my stop was down here, and my profit was up here. And so at one contract, I think I was up about $600-700 at the most. And so it's a small win, and I was looking for a little bit bigger of a move, but that's how it goes with trading. And so I guess I'm just gonna close this out here because it's clearly just sitting here. So I'll close out for a couple $100 there. And that makes back some of the losses. And again, it's the weekend. And so go into the weekend, reset when you need to. Whenever you're having a time struggling with trading, just reset and move on with the day. And go into the next day focused on the process and not the results. If you're focused on the results, it's going to impede your trading more and more. And so this was just a quick little update of where my trading's at right now. But if you want a more detailed walkthrough of my strategy and my trades, check out this video right here.